Now, it is a huge day for President Trump's tariff policy. The Supreme Court is currently hearing arguments over the legality of the way the trade tariffs were imposed. And according to the president himself, the stakes could not be higher. Well, the case centres around whether he has the authority to impose sweeping tariffs on imports under a law designed for use during a national emergency. So let's get the thoughts of Justin Wolfers, Professor of Economics at the University of Michigan. And Justin, great to have you on the programme again. This is going to be a hugely significant decision, isn't it?
Very big day, and if you love tariffs, if you hate tariffs, it's an emotional roller coaster.
It is unclear, even if Donald Trump loses, whether he'll actually abide by the decision. But let's put that to one side. Give me your assessment of the impact that tariffs have had there in the US and elsewhere.
I think actually there's two sets of impacts. One is the direct one, which is tariffs raise costs. Those higher costs lead to lower profits for American businesses, or when they pass them on, higher prices for American consumers. That's the fairly direct thing. The second thing may be even larger, which is that America has shown itself to be a combative and often unwilling trading partner, an unreliable trading partner, and it's sort of tipped the bucket on the global trading system. And so you're seeing countries all around the world reorganizing, looking for more stable friends. And America's reputation, quite sadly, has never been lower among folks who otherwise would be our allies.
And of course, it has created a huge amount of uncertainty. I mean, Donald Trump keeps talking about trillions being raised. Sometimes he uses the figure 17 trillion, sometimes it's 19 trillion. I mean, if that was true, we wouldn't have a government shutdown. But what is the truth of money raised and where it is going?
Mate, if any of those numbers were true, we could all be on yachts right now. It would be terrific. I don't know why the bloke doesn't just say 11 billion and 11 gajillion and get on with it. When you're making numbers up, just be transparent about it. Look, the reality is that a tariff is a tax. Roughly speaking, this tax raises about $30 billion in revenue per month. The president sometimes boasts about that. Ironically, as we're speaking right now, his Solicitor General is in front of the Supreme Court arguing that this tariff is not a tax, that it is meant to shape what others do rather than to raise revenue, and that the revenue is merely incidental. So they say one thing one day, something different the next.
You obviously follow this incredibly closely, and we've talked to you at so many times. I mean, one of the arguments is that he's using the powers under a national emergency because normally Congress does all of this. What is the national emergency?
Yeah, so there's actually two really big legal issues here. So we start with the Constitution says the power to tax rests with Congress, and that's a really foundational to the start of America's democracy. So the first question is, does the International Powers Act, which he's relying on, does it delegate the power to tariff from the president to the Congress? That's most of what the argument's been about at the Supreme Court. That's an act that actually doesn't use the word tariff anywhere, but the White House has said, yeah, but it's kind of there if you squint and hold it up to the light. The second thing is, even if it does give him the power, then it's an emergency power. And so to me, as an economist, not a lawyer, the much deeper, much harder question is, what is the national emergency? President Trump claims that it's bilateral trade deficits. If you talk to any economist with a pulse, they'll tell you that bilateral trade deficits are the most uninteresting thing in the world, that I have a bilateral trade deficit with my hairdresser. I sell her a lot of stuff. She doesn't sell me a lot of stuff, and that ain't a national emergency.
Justin,
She sells me a lot of stuff, I should say, the other way around, but you know what I mean.
Justin Wolfers, we have to leave it there.